How-Tos by SJ9's World. Today we're going to be making a cake mix taste homemade. We will be making vanilla cupcakes with vanilla icing and an awesome filling in the inside. So if you're a vanilla lover, you're definitely going to love this. Let's get started on baking the cake. Hey guys, before we start making our cake, let's preheat our oven to 350. Remember to wash your hands, which I already did, and get a towel to clean up your mess. You want to get softened butter and then put it into your mixer so you can start beating it. Your butter at a medium to high speed. So once you start doing that, your butter should be nice and soft. You should already have softened butter. Hard butter does not mix well. So once you keep on beating it for maybe 1 to 2 minutes, and I'll see you then. Okay guys, once the butter's been mixing for 1 to 2 minutes, you basically want to add a half cup of this, maybe about half of this, into the bowl. Okay, so once you get the half of the cake mix into here, you just want to stir it very lightly for a second. It's going to be a dry and crumbly mixture, so you want to just stir that for 1 minute. Remember, do not overmix this because you do not want it to be very dense. So just kind of stir it, and you can kind of tap the bowl, the side of the bowl, just to get the crumbs in. Once it looks about like at this crumbly stage, you can stop it and unlock your mixture. Just let it out. It's very crumbly, but you can just add a splash of milk right now. Just very little. No measurements required. But if you do like measurements, it's just about a tablespoon of it. So next you want to just lock it again and just stir a little bit harder, maybe a medium. And when it's at this consistency, you can about stop it and you can start cracking your eggs. Okay, once you get your eggs in a separate bowl cracked, you can pour them in one at a time, just like that. And you use your towel just to get any of the egg white that might have slipped out a little bit. And you can start mixing. Just mix it for about 10 seconds because you have to add another egg in every 10 seconds. So let's get started on doing that. Okay, once you do that, just want to open it again. Add your second egg. Again, use this paper towel to grab any egg whites. Remember to wash your hands after handling these eggs and cracking them. Next, you're going to add the next little bit of egg. And remember to clean that up. And then do it one last time. Now grab a spatula and scrape down the sides of the bowl. All the eggs are combined into the batter. You want to have an alternate of cake mix to milk. I actually measured out a half a cup of milk in this glass, so that's how much you're going to need for this. You want to start with the cake mix first. Just want to put a little bit in there. And then once you put a little bit of that in there, you want to lock in your mixer and start stirring. Once you're done with that, you can actually add it, and while you stir, you can just add a little bit of milk to it. And it should be a little bit too loosey-goosey. You can just keep on alternating until you're done. Now you want to add vanilla after you added the cake mix and the milk. Remember to add the cake mix after the last thing you add. So let's just add a little bit of vanilla. I just kind of eye level it, but you can add about 2 teaspoons of it. Depends how you feel. Once you've added the vanilla, your cake batter is done. Now you can put it into your muffin tins. Okay guys, now we're going to have to line our cupcake pan. I prefer the paper wrappings, but if you like the silicone molds better, you can do that too. First, you just want to make sure you only have one, but just lightly using your fingers to make sure. Can I get under the ridges? Try not to mess up the ridges. They're actually how the cupcake cooks better. So you can just keep on lining them. And yeah, I'll fast forward this so you guys don't have to watch me line the cupcake pan. Okay, so now that we got our cake mix all done, we scraped the sides of the bowl, we're going to start filling them into the cake pans. So I use this one from Wilton. It's just the regular size. It shows you the cupcake amount of batter you need. Or you can just use a cookie scooper. And then you just need a spatula and some non-stick cooking spray. So obviously you want to spray just a little bit onto the wrappings, just very little, very, very little. And you can take your paper towel just to take off the excess oil. But then once you do that, you again just want to get your spatula and kind of stir the batter. As you can see, I'm just folding it. Okay, so now you want to spray either utensil you're using. I'm actually going to use this one. So I'm just going to spray it. You just might want to spray it over the sink. So as we spray it over the sink, there we go. And so the oil doesn't get everywhere. But I can see it. You just wipe it again with the paper towels. You want to make sure it's nice and folded. You want to get just about this amount, and you want to fill it 3/4 of the way full. This batter, it depends what kind of cake mix you're using, but it makes about 24 cupcakes. So when you start putting this batter in, you can just add. And if you have too little, that's okay. You'll have like a test tasting cupcake. So you can just keep on adding them until 3/4 full. And I want to fast forward and get these all filled. Once you filled all your cupcakes, you can put them in the oven. It should again be at 350. So just make sure you have that. And just put them in. Oops. Make sure not to burn yourself. And you should put them in for 12 to 15 minutes. They might need a little bit more time, depends on how much you fill, so you can just put a timer on. I'm going to put it on for 14 minutes. Just hit timer and, wait for it to go. Okay, my cupcakes are looking great. Part 2, we're going to be making the icing and the filling for these. So let's take them out and let's let them cool. So our cupcakes have cooled and it's the next day. So now we're going to be making the filling. And all you need is some instant pudding, some vanilla, and some milk. If you want chocolate in yours instead of vanilla, you can do the same thing except with instant chocolate, cocoa powder, and milk. But for today, we're going to be doing the vanilla one. So first, you want to pour in just 2 cups of milk. As you can see, it's going to eye level it. About right there. And then you want to add in the pudding mix. So as you add in the pudding mix, you just want to open it very carefully. Ooh. Make sure it doesn't explode on you. It definitely does explode if you're not careful. So you definitely want to just put it in there. So make sure you have all the contents in there. You definitely don't want to miss anything. And we're still adding our pudding in there, pudding mixture. So make sure you get all of it. Like get every single thing. Make sure you don't waste any. Okay, that's it. Okay guys, now that we've added our vanilla, you can either use a whisk to stir or a hand beater. I am actually going to use my hand beater. So let's start putting the attachments on. Okay guys, so let's start mixing for 1 to 2 minutes. Okay guys, it's almost done mixing and done. So right now it's kind of a thicker pudding. It's basically pudding like it said it is. So we're going to actually add a little bit more milk to loosen it up so it can actually be filled into our cupcakes. just a splash of milk. I would say about a tablespoon. Like that. And if you want to add more vanilla, you can always taste it and see how it tastes. I'm going to just add a touch more vanilla. And then, bang, you want to start mixing. You do not want it to overmix. We can just mix it for 10 seconds. Let's see what NJ thinks about it. NJ, is that you?
Wait.
Wait, NJ. That's a big spoon, NJ. That's a real big spoon. NJ! NJ! Okay, guys, now we're done with the pudding. So let's put it aside to set. Remember, do not put it in the fridge because it'll set too hard. Let's put it right over here. So it's perfect. Now let's get on to our icing. Okay, guys, now we're going to make the icing for the cupcakes. You're going to need a tablespoon of shortening, a cup of powdered sugar, 4 tablespoons of butter, a teaspoon of meringue powder, and a little bit of milk, which I would say about 4 tablespoons. And then a teaspoon of vanilla, a spatula, a bowl, and a whisk or a hand beater. Okay? I prefer a hand beater because it beats a little bit better. First you want to add in a tablespoon of shortening. So, and the four tablespoons of butter. So just that much. Oop, let me get the spatula. Get it off the spoon. Yeah, okay. And then a tablespoon of butter. And you want to mix for 2 to 3 minutes. Okay guys, we're done mixing and let's add the vanilla. Just like that. And let's stir. And now we're going to add in a little bit of powdered sugar at a time. I would about add 1 tablespoon if you're new to making icing. So just about 1 tablespoon. And then to 1 tablespoon of milk. And you do not want to be too loosey-goosey. So always make sure you have a little bit more powdered sugar left. So if you add a little too much milk, you know, always add the extra powdered sugar in. Let's get started on doing that. Okay, now let's add powdered sugar. Just like this. Make sure you have powdered sugar left. So just in case you have too much milk to your icing, you can always fix it. So just lightly stir so the powdered sugar doesn't get everywhere. And keep on doing that until you use all your powdered sugar and a little bit of milk. Remember to be sparing with the milk because you do not want to add too much at a time. Okay, now the icing is done. Make sure not to overmix. You definitely want to make sure. And now to stiffen it up, you do not have to add this, but I really like adding this because it makes it a little bit stiffer so you can make your roses on top. So you just want to grab some of the meringue powder. Just make sure you get only a teaspoon. You just want to add it in. And then stir it really well so there's not little powdery meringue powder and grittiness in your icing. Just make sure to definitely mix it in. Ooh, don't let that happen. And it's stirred. So if you are a chocolate lover, you can add in some cocoa powder. Just a little bit. Cocoa powder is quite bitter, so you don't want to add too much and make it too bitter. But now it's perfect. It's done, and you can add it on your cupcakes.